You can feel it, can't you? This is one of those situations where the team has a huge decision to make, and whatever happens could have a major impact on the future. The front office is weighing the risk, looking at the numbers, and trying to figure out whether now is the right time to make a big commitment, or if it's smarter to wait and see how things play out. There's a lot on the line, and the debate among fans is only getting louder as we get closer to the season. Before we dive into all the details, make sure you smash that like button if you love Steelers football. And let me know where you stand in the comments. And if you're a real member of Steelers Nation, type, "Here we go," down below so I know who's riding with the black and gold. Reports continue to point toward a potentially significant decision inside the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, as discussions surrounding a contract extension for defensive tackle Keanu Benton remain active ahead of the 2026 NFL season. According to reporting referenced in the source material, the Steelers have been working toward a new deal with Benton, although nothing has been described as imminent. The negotiations have remained a topic of conversation since early June, when it was reported that the organization was actively exploring an extension for the young defensive lineman. What makes this situation especially interesting is the timing. The Steelers have already committed money to other players through recent extensions, and future financial flexibility appears limited. The organization is operating with relatively little available cap space over the next 2 seasons, creating an environment where every major financial commitment carries additional weight. The reality facing Pittsburgh is that any large extension signed now has consequences that stretch well beyond the current year. That is exactly why the conversation around Benton has become so important. The question is no longer whether the Steelers like the player. The question is whether they are willing to place a substantial financial bet on what he could become rather than solely what he has already proven on the field. Through the first 3 seasons of his NFL career, Benton has shown flashes that make him an intriguing long-term investment. His most productive season came last year when he recorded career highs in sacks and tackles for loss. Those numbers provided evidence that he can be disruptive when attacking opposing offenses, particularly as a pass rusher working his way into the backfield. However, the production profile is not without concerns. While the pass rushing ability has generated optimism, the run defense has remained a major talking point. The source material highlights that Benton has struggled as a run defender throughout his career and posted a particularly low run defense grade during the most recent season. That imbalance in his game is a critical factor when evaluating what type of contract he should receive. Teams generally reserve top-of-the-market defensive tackle money for players capable of impacting every aspect of the position. The concern is that Benton has not yet fully established himself as that type of complete player. This is where the risk begins. If Pittsburgh were to offer Benton a contract exceeding $20 million annually, they would be paying him based largely on projection. They would be betting that the best football of his career is still ahead of him. For some organizations, that type of gamble can become a major mistake. For others, it becomes one of the smartest moves they make. The argument in favor of extending Benton now revolves around the belief that his future production could look dramatically different from his past production. There is a growing belief among some observers that Benton has not always been deployed in the role best suited to his strengths. Rather than being viewed primarily as a traditional run-stuffing defensive tackle asked to absorb blocks and handle double teams, he is seen as a disruptive penetrator whose greatest value comes from attacking gaps and creating chaos in the backfield. The distinction matters because it changes how his previous production is interpreted. If a player is being used in a role that does not maximize his athletic traits, then his statistical output may not fully reflect his actual potential. That possibility is one of the most compelling elements of this entire discussion. The Steelers have also made additions along the defensive front that could potentially allow Benton to operate differently moving forward. The arrival of Sebastian Joseph Day was specifically highlighted as a factor worth watching. With another player capable of handling responsibilities against the run, there may be opportunities for Benton to focus more heavily on the disruptive aspects of his game that have generated excitement since he entered the league. There is also the broader reality that Pittsburgh must continue planning for the future along the defensive line. Veteran leadership and production have carried the position group for years, but every organization eventually reaches a point where younger players must become the foundation. Benton was selected with the expectation that he could become part of that long-term solution, and the upcoming season may be the most important evaluation period of his professional career. Interestingly, some believe the timing of an extension could actually work in Pittsburgh's favor. Because Benton has not yet produced at an elite level, his market value today could be lower than it might be 1 year from now. If the Steelers truly believe a breakout season is coming, waiting could become expensive. A major jump in production during 2026 could dramatically increase his asking price and force Pittsburgh into a much larger financial commitment later. That creates a difficult balancing act. Extend him now and risk paying a player before he has fully proven himself. Wait another year and risk watching his price tag explode if he delivers the breakout campaign many expect. Neither option is completely comfortable. The financial projections discussed in the source material illustrate just how expensive this decision could become. Market evaluations have placed Benton among players who could eventually command significant annual salaries, potentially approaching the upper tier of the defensive tackle market. At those numbers, the Steelers would need to be extremely confident in their evaluation of his future. At the same time, there appears to be a middle ground that could make sense from Pittsburgh's perspective. A contract that rewards Benton while still protecting the organization from excessive risk could provide both sides with a workable solution. The emphasis would be on maintaining flexibility, limiting guarantees where possible, and ensuring the team has options if the projection does not become reality. The situation becomes even more complicated when another major name enters the conversation: Joey Porter Jr. Any discussion about large extensions in Pittsburgh inevitably returns to roster priorities. The source material repeatedly stresses that Porter remains a player expected to receive a significant extension of his own. If financial limitations eventually force the organization to choose where resources are allocated, that decision could shape the roster for years to come. For now, the focus remains on Benton and whether the Steelers are prepared to make their move before the 2026 season begins. Negotiations have reportedly been in progress. The potential benefits are obvious, and the risks are equally clear. Pittsburgh appears to be weighing whether securing Benton today could ultimately save money tomorrow, or whether patience remains the wiser path. If you were making the decision, would you commit to a major extension for Keanu Benton right now based on his potential, or would you wait one more season to see if the breakout year actually happens? Before we wrap this one up, I want to hear directly from Steelers Nation. If the front office puts a 3-year extension on the table for Keanu Benton right now, are you making that move before the season starts? Or are you waiting one more year to see if he delivers the breakout season many believe is coming? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this is one of the biggest decisions facing the Steelers' future defensive front. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss any breaking Steelers news, rumors, and analysis. And when you're done, click the next video on your screen for more Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. The latest updates are coming fast, and you'll find them right here first. Here we go, Steelers.